Open up your heart, what do you feel? Open up your heart, what do you feel? Is it real?
I'm here today with Victor Moreno, who's fighting Wednesday night at MCC 37 Thanksgiving Throwdown. Victor, welcome back. Always good to have you.
Thank you.
You are the very first MCC welterweight champ. You've been here pretty much through the beginning, almost every exciting fight. It's been attached to your name. Now, before we talk about your fight and what you've been up to, you put a recent posting out on Facebook saying that you probably have a couple fights left in you before you hang up the gloves. You're one of the busiest guys out there, wife, kids, career, fighting on the side.
Yeah.
Is it so? The last couple, I mean, is that kind of a bittersweet ordeal for you?
Well, I don't know. Here's the deal. I mean, what you were saying, with how busy I am, it's just getting so crazy at work. I got to be there all the time, and then at home, that's obviously my first priority. So it's really tough to find the time to really get back in the gym and do stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm in the gym, I'm working out, but I just don't know how long, my family and my career and everything, will work out together as it's been through the past. But with that said, I posted that I only have 2 fights left in me this Wednesday, and then I want to fight Ben Crowder, and that's the only fights I really want to do. But I heard that he has a torn ACL. He'll be out for probably a year. So with that said, it looks like I have to fight for another year until I fight that guy, because that's the one fight I want to fight. I would really want to shut him up, and just send him back to the east side stinking like that place, So that's
I mean, that's been a rivalry going on. I mean, literally 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
between you and Crowder. It was almost a done deal last year. He had some other obligations with football and whatnot, so he wasn't able to take any fights. It's definitely a fight that the fans would love to see. Yeah, I mean, if his health holds up and you're still able to stick around in the game, we'd love to see that fight. Now, you've been in the game for, I mean, it's going on almost 10 years. You started back with a lot of us back in the old Toad Holler days. You kind of exploded onto the scene, this flashy guy that used all these crazy moves, flying punches, kicks, and you've always been an exciting fighter. But even more so, you've kind of been the guy behind the scenes who's helped everybody get to that next level. All of the fighters that have gone on to the UFC, Josh Neer, Jeremy Stevens, Kevin Burns, myself, I mean, you've been there for me. What's that been like for you? I mean, you've always been one of those fighters that I personally said is always one fight away from the big show. I mean, you've got you fought the who's who. I mean, looking back at your record, if they're a tough Midwestern or really anybody, I mean, you've been involved in a fight. You've got some wins over some really tough guys. You've got some tough losses. Has that ever kind of set in your mind, just like, when am I going to catch this break?
Well, I mean, back to helping all the guys out. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be the one walking out, down the UFC aisle one day. But I'm not mad at it. I'm glad that I can be a part, of 5 or 6 different guys, career. Help them get where they're at, and so I don't know. It's just whatever. Yeah, of course, everybody wants to fight in the UFC, but I'm happy where I'm at. Big thing about fighting in the UFC is all the lights, all the fans, but the money. I'd love to have that paycheck from the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're saying, I'm a real flashy fighter, and that's what gets bonuses in the UFC. I want that $75,000 bonus. And then when I first started, I was the flashy kid doing all these crazy stuff, and you know what? I'm gonna bring that back Wednesday. I'm getting out of the technique, and you're gonna see some flying knees, elbows. I might even try a submission. You don't know what I'll do. I don't even know what I'll do. So, I just want to get back. I just want everybody to have fun while they watch me fight, and I know I'll entertain. So.
Regardless of what show you fight on, whether it's MCC, UFC, any of those shows, I mean, you'll always, when your career's said and done, people will always look back and remember you for, just like we talked about, being an exciting fighter, willing to step up and fight anybody, not so much worried about the wins or the losses, but more so of the fight. And that's the kind of fighters that people really love to watch, and that's why you have such a big fan base. Okay, so back to the fight Wednesday night. Taking on Andy Stock, a guy who's, like you, been in there with a lot of tough guys. He's a good submission guy. He's willing to stand up and trade punches. What do you expect out of him? And I know that you said that you're going to come out and with the flashy moves and really try to do some highlight reel finishes. But what do you expect in this Wednesday?
Honestly, I expect, he's a tough kid. Whatever, give him his credit. He'll stand there and he'll fight. That's what I like. I like a guy that'll fight. He'll stay in the pocket. He'll stay in there all 3 rounds if he has to. But man, it's just gonna. What I plan on doing is, no disrespect to him, but just basically embarrassing him. Anything I want to do, I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do it very easily. And this victory is going to come very convincingly while he's laying on the floor. So I'm just excited to fight again, and especially fight before Thanksgiving. And a couple times I fought right after and couldn't eat that meal. Well, now I get to eat the meal, and I'm just excited to fight again. So.
If you're watching this at home, Mr. Crowder, Ben, please heal up, buddy. We would love to see you get in the ring with Mr. Moreno. And for everybody else, this Wednesday night, Hy-Vee Hall, doors open at 6:30. Get your tickets. This guy is going to put on a show, and hopefully we can convince him to stick around a little bit longer. MCC 37, Thanksgiving Throwdown, Hy-Vee Hall. We'll see you there.